Revernauts, and welcome back to the Kerbin International Space Station. I figured since there's been so many videos that I said when we were looking at the Space Center, the Space Station, I would just come in here and we would look at our space station for once. There we go. Got it right. I had to be real careful. I was going to say Space Center, right? So let's go back and put our HUD back on, F2, if you guys are curious, if you ever want to take a screenshot. But I thought this was kind of cool because we have the moon in the background, we have the sun, we have all of our people. And since the last episode, I figured out how to transfer fuel. I just had forgotten. It's been a while since I played. But if you hit Alt and then click on a tank and then click on another tank, it gives you these in and out options. So if you look, we got very little fuel left in here. And we have moved most of it over to here. So the idea being that we may even consider redocking, if possible, to this before we enter orbits, just to not waste the fuel. The fuel cost itself is not that much, but the need for, you know, the need to get it up into space can be very expensive. So, and nothing else, when we have the limited science and technology that we do, we want to try to maximize out our efficiency, potentially. But again, waste not, want not. Isn't that what they say? So what I would like to do is talk about breaking off all the bits and pieces that we no longer want on there, correct? So in other words, we really don't need all these people up in space. We could talk about get rid of some of these. And what I thought we would do is maybe get rid of these two bits first, even though this was the original. And we might want to put a little bit more fuel into him, but we should be fine, right? We can transfer it. After we get rid of these guys, our delta V down here will change, because I'd like to maybe circularize our orbit a tiny bit before we send this guy back down. Now, we could just leave this attached if we wanted to. It's almost a shame that this portion isn't in this position, but that's okay. We can always launch another vehicle and go from there. Now, we could just leave this here as a thrusting rocket at the same time. And how many people do we have in here? It's not a real good, easy way to get a picture, but we could transfer Daniel over to this craft, which is it's got 3 seats. So, you know, now that I think about it, maybe that is a good way to do it. So let's click here, and then we'll transfer crew. Transfer to here. So now if we click on here, all 3 of our pilots are ready to return. Now I think that's okay, because we could use the control up here if we really wanted to make some maneuvers, right? So maybe we'll just leave this part attached so that we could maneuver the space station if we needed to. And in the meantime, we can take the portion of this doesn't have, here, let's get rid of that window. This doesn't have any solar panels on it, so it kind of works out. The other thing is, if your station isn't very symmetric, you run into issues. So by getting rid of these 2 portions, we'll be a little more symmetric. If we have too much weight on this end versus this end, you don't always fly as straight as you think you would. You can end up getting like spinning motions going, which can wreak havoc on your trying to hold a particular course. So let's go ahead and try to get this thing out of space, or at least there's no people in here, but if we undock it, we do have a control somewhere underneath there, I believe, that we should be able to, oh, it's underneath of this. All right, yeah, there's our probe stack. So we should be able to control this guy if we break him away. We do have a little antenna, we're not that far, so I'm hoping that we can at least burn retrograde and then just get it to be not space debris. Otherwise, we'll just delete it. But hey, it'll be a little fun maneuvering, right? So we should be able to come here and say decouple node. And then I should be able to click on here. Oop, I guess we should go. Let's see. Let's see what happened. Where are we at? So can we get switch to? Yes. All right. So now we're decoupled. And we should be able to turn to retrograde, I hope. Oh, nope. So we don't, oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, the SETI probe has a little tiny, I don't know which way, there we go, retrogrades this way. Let's Go slowly over there just so we don't buzz past it. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. And then we just have a tiny bit of fuel, so whatever it is, this guy doesn't have parachutes. We're not trying to recover him, right? So let's slow down. I'm just going to give it full throttle. Somewhere near retrograde. There we go. So what does our orbit look like? It looks like we're going to crash back into the Earth, so that's good. Now the other thing to judge is that we really, I want to do, I don't want to take too much fuel with us, but I don't want to take too little when it comes to our other, right? So let's go back here and, yep, plunging back to Earth. I'm not going to follow this, though I might if I weren't recording, but I don't find this particularly exciting. This guy will burn up or blow up. And we can come back to here. Oops, not add maneuver. Is this the space station? Yes. Switch to. So there we go. Do we see him? Is that him? Yep, there he is, buzzing away from us, back going to crash into the planet. So very good. We're doing a bunch of gyrations here, aren't we? So let's see if we can't come up to, let's make sure we have everybody in here, right? Yep, 1, 2, 3. And they're all the scientists, or all the pilots. Radomir, pilot. So we'll get all our pilots back, and then the other guys are kind of stuck in space for quite a while. All right, so very good. So let's see if we can undock. Yep, there we go. So for better or for worse, we are now undocked. Now we are still on the space station as far as our calling it our main craft. And since we're here, let's go over, and it's on kill. So notice we stopped that goofy gyration thing, and we now have a docking port, and we've managed to get our science going. Let's double check before we leave. Good. All right, we're in great shape. Oop, not there. Let's go to this view and spin around and see if we can't. Supply station 1, switch to. Yep, there we go. Good, it got its old name back. Now what is this one called? Well, we'll worry about it in a minute. But this guy, we have plenty of pilots. I'm hoping, can you turn me to retrograde? Oop, spin around, don't hit the thing. Now this time, what happened there? There you go. All right, so this time we want to be a little bit careful about our burn, right? So we want to burn in such a way that we don't want to come in too fast. We want to come in maybe about 30 kilometers. So let's just give it a little light love tap until we get our, there we go, goodbye space station. I feel that we should have checked things a little bit more. I think I can burn a little bit more. I do want to get an idea how much fuel we have left, just for future considerations. Hopefully I'll remember. We'll burn until we slow down and put our periapsis height, which is now at about 70. We'll get it down to about 30. And then we'll eject our last stage there. Do it a little bit quicker, but this is okay. Sometimes quick is not always the best. There we go. So we should have a nice entry trajectory, and I just want to get an idea. It doesn't tell me there. I think we had like, what, about 50? So we, as far as the fuel goes, I think we burned off between 30 and 20. I should have said that 20 and 30. So that, knowing in the future, we may, depending on the size of what we're trying to detach, but if we're just using this, we could probably have gotten away with half the fuel. But again, the good thing is that all that excess fuel is still up in space. So we are saving moolah. All right, well, let me stage this guy, and we'll get rid of this bottom engine section. And I will just fast forward this as much as I can and talk to you guys when we're safely back on the Earth. Oh, before we do, is there anything else? Okay, we can do a... wait, we already have a materials study. Or did we reset it? Let's just keep that. Yeah, we'll leave that guy open. I don't think that'll cause a problem. Okay, I will talk to you guys when we get back to Earth. Okay, here we are. I'm going to move this over here, and I think they could each do an EVA report. Let's hope so. They're going pretty slow, so hopefully Radomir doesn't get sucked off the ship. There we go. Very good. I'll just board very quickly. Don't want them to die. Temperature scan. We should have a temperature thing on here. Yep. Keep the experiment. And crew report. Keep the experiment. Good. So we got, some should have a fair amount of signs. We don't get the most from missions to Kerbin, but there you go. So I think that should even give our pilots a little bit of thing. But we're in good shape. We made it through. Look at that. Plenty of extra parachutes. But when you look, we're coming down at 5.4. We could tell a little bit better even if we open up this and then rid of rendezvous and go to surface. So 5.8, which is, it's safe, but I don't think we'd want too many less parachutes than this. Let's fast forward things so we can get down to the planet. There we go. Go back to regular speed as we touch the ground, and there we go. So we are in good shape. So is there any other science? Oh yeah, look, we could do, oh wait, we probably already have crew reports, but what can we do? Materials study, we've already got taken all of those. I don't think Pajar did an EVA report, right? So we can do EVA report, keep that, and then take surface sample, keep that. And let's have him board back in. And is there anything else? Well, the fact that we could do a temperature scan, I think we can review the data because we don't lose anything in the transmission. So we might as well log the temperature here. And then we can do another crew report. Cancel. Let's review stored data. EVA report, we can keep that. I'm looking for the crew report. Okay, I'm not seeing, oops. Yeah, let's, can I just get out of here? There you go. Review all stored data, review report. Let's see if that's the crew report. Yes, crew report. So let's just transmit that, and then we should be able to do another one. There we go. Get a little extra science. Atmospheric. And again, we already did our material study, so we're not going to be able to do that. So that's okay. Surface sample. Good. So I think that's about all we can do for science. So let's recover the vessel. See what that does. We had about 30 some science before. Kind of curious if we get a bunch extra. Now we're not transmitting it from our space center, so we got 170. So probably in the neighborhood of 120 some, or 113. Very good. So let's hit next, and we got back 4,000. That's okay. And we got a little bit more pilot experience, but no experience gained for all of that. That's kind of a bummer. But they did get a bunch of medals, so it shows you that they did some more things. Daniel, well, he probably ribbons, I guess you would call these. He didn't. He was a newer pilot, so but that's good. We got Radomir some more ribbons, and I don't know why this keeps popping up. Well, we did have it open at least. But let's see, what did we did as far as the contract? Okay, we never accepted that. Well, we accepted it, but we never deleted out the message. Good. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to do next. We can jump into mission control, and let's see what available contracts do we have. Now, I have said that I'm going to end the series, and I probably will. It hasn't taken off where there's a massive number, so I pre-apologize to all of you that have been enjoying it, but I think we'll drag our feet, hopefully for another week or two as far as that goes. And let's just see, is there any launch Minmus station? Well, we're actually working on that, right? But we haven't gotten there yet, and we might even, we'll definitely finish that before the end. Rotate crew of Minmus 1. Well, they're not even out there, so evacuate the moon station. Okay, well that's kind of interesting, huh? So what do we have? We only have one person out there, Steve, if I'm remembering correctly. So, yeah, it expires in one day, but then we have a year to complete it. Well, let's go ahead and see if we could do that. I wonder if we can just transfer him over to a vessel, but at the same time we need to bring more people up there, so maybe we go up there and we dock and we undock, and that's enough to, now do we need to, yeah, it doesn't really say here that we need to not put them immediately back in place, correct? So let's go ahead and accept that mission, and let's just jump over real quick to our vehicle assembly building. So we're gonna have to launch to the moon, and let's just make sure we get, yeah, let's shrink that and shrink that. Vessel, one moon station, leave no Kerbals on board. Well, we could probably get that. Perform an emergency landing on the moon. Nah, we can't do that one. All right, so I think I just want to proceed ahead with sending people out to the moon so that we can get the 2 scientists. So let's come over here. Let's leave here real quick. And let's go just take a gander, so to speak, at what is up with the moon station, just so we can think ahead about what we would put on the moon station. So we can dock in any one of these ports, and we have an engine that we don't really need to undock at this point. And how is Steve's battery seem to be doing well? Always a bit of a concern, but yeah, we're at 100%. Now he's not running science, so our production is sort of at a minimum. So I think I would like to get more solar cells. I'm not worried too much about making this a refueling base. I don't know that that would make too much difference. We could certainly use this. Now we don't have much for monopropellant on here. And we have a science lab, we have a living quarters, and we have pretty much everything else we need. If we wanted anything else, I think it would be maybe more batteries, more power in particular. And we do have a little bit of monopropellant, yeah, in this tank, but it should, oops. Yeah, this, no, come on. There we go. So it's already full, so we have plenty of monopropellant up here. And if it's not a refueling thing, then we really don't need to worry about that. Now, how is our... And we got a lot of fuel for if we ever went to reposition. So it looks like what we really need is maybe just another module that we would stick something to this for future considerations that would... And then more than anything, just we're going to want to bring another scientist up here, right? We need 2 crew in order to be able to fire up our science station. So unfortunately, we accepted that contract, but we have a year to do it. It may go undone if the series ends. So let's RemoteTech no control. Is that just because we're behind things, or yeah, we're not too worried about that right now? And our orbit is nice. Okay, so let's get out of here. We could do a crew report. Yeah, let's do a little. It's not letting me do. Can I do a crew report from here? Yes. No. Okay. So let's transfer a crew. Then now I should be able to do a crew report. No connection to send on command. What? Well, we have a. Okay. Let's come over to here and see what's going on. Yeah, we're behind the moon. Okay, well, we can worry about that when we do another rotation. I don't want to take up too much time. Yeah, we're just behind the moon, so which is fine. That's part of life. All right. Well, we will get back from behind the moon, and then we will do some more science. But in the meantime, let me pause it here, the recording that is, and then I want to go back and I'll get our spaceship all ready. Then we can review it and launch it. Talk to you in a minute. All right, here we are. We have a little spaceship, which turned into more of a project. Let me know if you guys want to see more of the designing. It's a little bit helter-skelter and takes quite a while, but again, let me show you the overall idea. Zoom in. So we have decoupling, so we can couple to our space center. We have a rechargeable battery, which is oversized. We'll have like 50,000. We scaled it up using the scale button here. So we get quite a bit of an electrical charge. I'm not sure if it's even realistic, but I decided to just put on one of these ICS containers because it's about the right size. I think it'll look good. And then if we ever get into that, we could, store some of the items that go with that ICS. And if nothing else, it's a nice sized little compartment storage thing, right? I put 6 photovoltaic cells on there all the way around it. So hopefully that'll greatly increase our ability to generate electricity. And then just because of loading. I'm not real good at loading and merging all these vehicles. I kind of rebuilt pretty much the same thing we had before. We've got the same number of parachutes. We have a battery. This time we do have photovoltaic cells, which is good. And basically the same thing with our Science Junior, because we're going to be bringing this part back eventually, right? So that we will do that. We've got our computers, we've got our communicatrons. Hopefully we have everything we need. Not too worried about communications back and forth because we have a pilot in here. And as far as the crew goes, we're going to be sending up a scientist, Dennis, and Urzur, a engineer, and Radomir will be the pilot again. So let's go back to building. As far as anything else goes, let's zoom back out. So we have like a real little, I need to do some staging in order to get up. Now I probably could change it, but if I tried to just use this poodle, which I really want to get rid of the rest of this before we actually dock with the station. Maybe we'll leave this little part, but I had to add this little section in. And if I really didn't want to mess with this, I'm scared to mess with it. So it worked out well enough last time, and I'm hoping it does the same thing for us again. So we'll see. We've got plenty of fuel and thrust to get us out of the atmosphere right here. And then hopefully we can do the rest of our burn with this and get into orbit. I wanted some extra delta V. I think you can get away with around 5,000. So we should have a little bit of extra to hopefully get into a good maneuvering in order to get into docking. I'm not an expert at these things, so we'll have a little bit of extra going for us, I hope. All right, so let's see if this thing won't launch into space. I think we have all of our staging right. All right, we're going to fire up all the engines, including the thrusters. Now we have 1.61, so we're going to want to maybe half throttle and on the actual thrust down here, these rocket engines. And then the other rockets, the booster rockets, should burn at about 70%. And then we'll kick off all of our booster rockets, and eventually the next stage would be getting rid of this whole bottom half. And I did add another stabilizer. Now I scaled it up. I'm not sure if scaling it up gives it more authority. I certainly hope so. It doesn't really tell you any stats on it, as far as I can tell, if you scale things up. I know with the fuel tanks and the electricity, you get a greater effect. So hopefully this will be a little more maneuverable than our last version, which was a bit of an issue. So there we go. So I think we're in pretty good shape. And we fire this one, then this one, and then this one. Yeah, okay. Well, here we go. Let's launch. Let's save it just in case, and then launch. Zoom out so we can see the whole thing, and SAS, just for the sake of it. Hopefully Radomir will be able to help me with this takeoff. And yeah, I don't think we have to wait for anything special. Just try to get straight out at 90 degrees. And we want to take our throttle up, let's say 2/3 just to be safe. Though, let's do half. I think that'll be pretty good. We'll find out in a minute. We can always upper it or lower it as we need to. Okay, so here we go. Let's get rid of the flight engineer. Sorry to fake you guys out. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. And we have liftoff. Doing pretty nicely so far. We really want to kind of stay going straight up. It's okay. It's not the most effective way to get into orbit. I don't care if my orbit ends up a little bit higher than normal, just because we're going to the moon anyway. As long as we don't explode when we go to do this next staging, that is really my big priority. I won't cut down on the throttle because I don't want to get going too fast, too early. Let those rocket boosters do their thing. Some fuel just to make sure we have a little bit. If we get over 400 in the lower, then we should. Yeah, there. See, we're starting to get some wind effects, but pretty soon we'll drop this off anyway. not too much, not too much. Almost went too far. Okay. All right. I'm just going to hold it here. Increasing, yeah, so we really want to get sideways some because if we're going straight up, we're not increasing very much. So our surface velocity, well, we're still getting our periapsis up there, so there we go. It's getting more controllable the further away from Kerbin that we get. Just don't want to tilt over so much we start flipping around. There we go. I feel pretty good about that. Our apoapsis isn't changing too much. And so we're getting to go. There we go. So that's what we want to see. I do want to burn sideways a fair amount. We are at full throttle, so we're doing everything we can at this point. Apoapsis is increasing. The most stable ship I've ever built. We're really doing pretty well here. Our time to apoapsis is pretty steady, and that's a good sign, right? Because that means we're burning just about the right amount to have a nice smooth. Keep getting sideways. We're not too worried about following this path. It seems to be a pretty good one for us so far. Like we still have plenty of fuel, just sort of like before, where we just don't have big enough engines. And we probably had some more science, but I didn't want to wipe out. I know the science gets more and more expensive, and if we can do it with what we have, we may regret it in the future, right? We may want to. So I want to turn, now we're above 70, I just want to turn slightly above the horizon here. Trying to get ahead of our apoapsis. We're really not, so that's fine. Our apoapsis is still going. The time to apoapsis is going down, which is a sign that we're not quite really thrusting enough to. But we're doing okay. I don't feel bad. And as we get closer and closer to our apoapsis, I feel pretty good about this. I actually kind of want to increase our apoapsis, so we'll go up above here. I don't want it to be at 76, right? I'd rather get to at least 100. So see how I go above that ball, and now it's going up pretty fast. Cut it, jump over to here. Let's quickly get a maneuver node going, circularize. There we go, a little bit too far, I think. Let's come down here, get rid of that. Yeah, close that, maneuver. So the maneuver, that's good enough, right? 107, so let's see, how much time do we have? So we have 4 minutes to that, so we're in good shape. We only need 127 more delta V. So let's go ahead and set an alarm. Add, and then that way, well, anyway, I probably didn't need to do that. There we go. We shot ahead a little bit, but all right, there we go. So we got 3 minutes to this burn. So let's get, yeah, it's going to take a, oh, that's bad. Okay. Yeah, well, we're moving better than we did the last time. It took like 13 minutes to maneuver anything before. Yeah, let's get pointed at our target before we try to fast forward, which is just prograde, but prograde will move, right? As we move around the planet, it's sort of moving target. All right, there we go. So it's only a 5-second burn if we do it at full throttle, which we may try to do maybe half throttle for 10 seconds, a little more controllable. I understand we can do it different. All right, so now let's fast forward times 10 just to make YouTube a little more exciting, if that's the word you might use. There we go. All right, so now we're awful close. We'd probably even burn here and we'd be okay, but Yeah, so I think I'll take it up to about half throttle at about 10 seconds. As long as we burn on either side of it, it shouldn't make too much difference to our end result. All right, so we're at 14 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Go. Keep an eye on our apoapsis. Try to cut it off just before. There we go. That's pretty darn good. There we go. That's a pretty close to circular orbit. We were off a little bit, but then our plan was to go a little bit off. But there you go. 103, 103. So we are now in a circular orbit, and we have to look for. Let's do F8, which is too many orbits. Get rid of some of that stuff. And where the heck is the moon? Over here. So let's set that as our target. Now, how far off of the moon's orbit are we? We are quite a bit off. Yeah. Where are we? Well, let's go over here. That's why we pay for the Kerbal Engineer. So let's turn off surface and go to rendezvous. Relative inclination is really pretty low. If it's below a degree, I think you're in good shape. So we're really in pretty good shape. All right, so now what we want to do is kind of figure out where moonrise. Yeah, okay, the satellites are messing me up there. So moonrise is going to be like right in this region here. So let's plan on burning prograde. Let's go to where we can see. All right, there we go. Nope, don't add a maneuver. As a matter of fact, can you open this maneuver up again for me? Yeah, so we want. There we go. Periapsis 27. That's about perfect. Now, the other thing to check is if we come over to the moon here, we can do our maneuvering through here. Just want to make sure, I'm going to turn F8 back on again because we are going to do with moonset. Yeah, this guy's going around this way and we're going to be coming in this way. Now, the only thing to say is that his altitude is 70,000, right? So, oh, wait. Now, the moon station, that's a satellite. Moonsat, well, we want this. I just want to check his altitude, 26. So if we come in here at 27, yeah, I'm not smart enough to figure out when we would intercept him, so we can decide whether we want to. We're going to probably have to go faster, so hopefully we come in and then we'll make a bit of an elliptical orbit. We'll do another burn like here. Let's just add a maneuver. And we're going to have to burn retrograde. And, it would be something like this. And then hopefully we can figure out where we can intercept them. If we have to bump this back up. So when we do maneuver 2, we're going to be down to our last stage, which is really perfect, right? Let's see what maneuver 1 says. Yeah, I'm a little confused by all of this, but that's all right. We're just going to burn. I think we're going to have enough delta V. Let's go and take a look at the vessel. Yeah, so let's see. Let's move this out of the way. Does it tell us our delta V? Yeah, delta V is 800 on the first maneuver and 200 on the second maneuver. And if we look at our vessel, we have total 2,600, so we should be in real good shape. Maybe way more than we need, but that's okay too. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so we will. Let me just do these maneuvers, and I will probably record it, but I'm not sure if I'll show it or not. It just depends on the end. We're kind of long in this video anyway for where we're at, but I want to get at least on our way. So, well, maybe that's what we'll do. Let's just burn this maneuver, and then we'll call it quits. All right, so let's get over to, let's go back to our vessel, hit the tilde key, and we're going to hit N, and let's set the Kerbal alarm. Oop, we already had it open, probably should have closed it. Let's also close the engineer for now. Add an alarm. Oh, we're already past our... All right, so let's take a look here. That's probably why I was getting messed up. Oh, you know what? If we get over there, we... Node in 12 seconds. Ah, we're too late. All right, well, you know what? Can we do it if we go around again? You know, let's fast forward time a bit. Yeah. And let's fast forward till we get... I'm a little confused, but I think it's... Yeah, see, we're kind of behind it. I really don't want to have to redo all that. Is there a way to reset the node without... So it's a 42-second burn. Yeah, you know what? Let's stop fast forwarding. So you see what happened to me? I dilly-dallied. I didn't realize we were that close to it. And so let's get rid of that maneuver and... Yeah. But that was worked out really nice. So where is... Moonrise is here, so we're talking about like maybe here. Add maneuver. We spent too much time. Maneuver 2. Get rid of maneuver 2. Yeah, there's maneuver 1. What are we doing there now? Are we just going too much burn? Yes, we were. There we go. Periapsis 98. Boy, that was really nice before. Looks like we're getting closer, too close. There we go. Periapsis 31, I'll take it. All right, so let's just burn on our way out there. We won't worry about... If we had not messed around with worrying about the second burn, we would have made this, right? So node in 5 minutes. All right, now we add the alarm, just for the sake of it. Let's get rid of that one, and we'll fast forward. That'll put us within 3 minutes. And as soon as we slow down, let's start maneuvering. And then once we get maneuvering, we'll fast forward. Now we have 42-second burn, so that means we're going to want to burn. And I would like to give it a little bit, go maybe a little bit early just so I can do the last bit of the burn kind of slowly, and then plus we're going to have to stage too. So I think I might burn when we have about 30 seconds left. So let's get over to here because we're, you know what, we should get our, do we want to deploy those? No, I think I'm just going to deploy, extend the solar panel. Yeah, I'm just going to deploy those two. We'll get our communications, extend all antenna. Did that work, or did I miss it? No. Okay, activate. Where's that other antenna? It's real close to this one. There it is. Activate. There we go. So we don't need to fire that guy up, right? We should have enough power coming. Oh, we're kind of forgetting about our maneuver node, aren't we? Or at least I am. All right, there we go. So let's get back on target. We're not doing the greatest job with SAS, are we? All right, so the good news is we'll be able to get rid of this big honking, heavy, hard to move section. All right, let me fast forward a bit very carefully. Get down to about 40 seconds. Good. So like I said, I want to burn kind of way early just so that we have time to... So we're burning early, but we burn this whole stage off. Jump into the next stage. That's not what I meant to hit. Alright, nice explosion. Right, so let's jump out to here so we can keep an eye on what's going on. I'm going to hit F8. get closer, I'm going to slow down so I can fine tune it in there. Start slowing down now. All right, what is our periapsis? Let's get rid of the maneuver node. 123. Okay, so I think I can just burn. Is that bringing it down? Yes. So we're just going to burn real slow until we a little bit more. Ready to hit the kill button. Kill. All right. So our new periapsis when we get around the moon is going to be 29, basically 30,000 kilometers, which is nice. So now we could probably come out here. Oops. Let's just, I don't want to add a maneuver. Right. There you go. So there we go. So that'll be our, that's a nice insertion, as they call it. Let's just add a maneuver so we can put a timer for the beginning of next episode. And we'll bring this guy down. Though as we get close, what I want to do is we'll see how far ahead of that guy we are, because I don't want to be. I'm going to bring that down to about 100. 113 sounds good to me. So let's go ahead and add an alarm to the next maneuver. And that'll be in 5 hours time. So there we go. We're blasting off this way, and as the moon comes around, we're going to catch it. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next weekend or next week with another couple episodes. Let's jump over here and see how we're doing. Are we absorbing power fast enough? Yeah, we're really not using that much, but it's good. We'll get a scientist and another engineer up there. We'll get some extra electricity because that was a bit of a concern, and we'll get the ability to generate a bunch more electricity, so that way we don't have any doubts that our science thing will work. And most important, we'll have another scientist, but let's not discount our engineer, and ability to fix things would be a good thing as well. Well, so there we go. Like I said, hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you for next week's episodes. Take care. Bye-bye.